If you want to max out your gaming performance at 1080p, on this video I will show you the highest FPS 1080p PC build that you can get right now. I wouldn't spend any more money for 1080p resolution, so here you will have the best of the best in my opinion. And if you're a beginner, don't worry, I will explain everything as simple as possible, that way you're able to understand what this system is really capable of. And if you think that the price is a bit too high, don't worry, because at the end of the video I will explain on how to get a cheaper PC that has amazing performance. You will have the links to all of these components down below in the video description. That being said, let's start. For the CPU, we have a 6-core 12-thread processor in the Ryzen 5 5600, great budget CPU, and it's gonna be enough for 1080p, 1440p or even 4K depending on the GPU you pair the CPU with. For the CPU cooler, we have the ID Cooling SC214XT. Now, if you're new to PCs, you don't need a CPU cooler for this Ryzen 5 5600. You can stick with the stock one from AMD, which is going to be more than enough. However, for just $17, you're getting lower noise levels and also a cooler CPU. For the motherboard, we have the MSI Pro B550 PC ATX motherboard. Now, this is not the cheapest motherboard from the AM5 platform by any means, but with this motherboard, you have great VRMs and you will be able to upgrade to, let's say, the Ryzen 7 5800X3D, which is one of the best CPUs for gaming on the market, especially on the AM4 platform. For the memory kit, we have the Team Group T-Create Expert Kit. This is a 32 gigs of RAM kit, and honestly 16 gigs is enough for gaming, but 32 gigs is cheap right now and it's gonna give you a better performance for streaming and also content creation. For the storage, we have the Team Group T-Force 1TB of Gen 4 SSD for just $36. This is the sweet spot for gaming right now. You can go with 2TB depending on how many games you're thinking of downloading, but I think 1TB is enough and you can always upgrade down the line. For the graphics card, and the most important part on a gaming system, we have the RTX 3060 Ti. The reason why I chose this one is the price. Right now is going for $330, while the AMD competitor, the RX 6700 XT, is going for $350. Between the RTX 3060 Ti and the RX 6700 XT, I would personally choose the 6700 XT and spend a bit extra because of the VRAM difference. If you're new to PCs, you don't know what VRAM is. Basically, with 12 gigs of VRAM, you will be able to play the latest titles on ultra settings at 1080p and 1440p. With 8 gigs of VRAM, which is how much VRAM the 3060 Ti has, you have that limitation that, for example, on a game like Hogwarts Legacy on ultra settings, you will struggle with the textures, not with the FPS average, but instead on how the game looks. That's the main difference. But if you get the RTX 3060 Ti, you get a better content creation performance. You also get a better level of ray tracing. So if that's something that's important to you, go with the 3060 Ti. At the end of the day, you're spending less money and getting the same gaming performance just with a VRAM limitation, especially when it comes to 1440p. At 1080p, you will be fine with every game basically. For you to understand how good the RTX 3060 Ti is at 1080p, on an 18 game average on high quality settings at 1080p, the RTX 3060 was able to manage 150 FPS, which is really high considering the type of games that were tested and also considering it's on the high quality settings. So if you're thinking of playing easy demanding titles, you will be able to achieve more than 240 FPS on average. So if you want to buy a high refresh rate monitor and you want to start competing, you will be able to do this with no issues. Now at 1440p on the same 18 game average on high quality settings, the 3060 Ti has an average of 114 FPS, which is still pretty high. So you can even play at 1440p high settings with high FPS. You just have the VRAM limitation for the latest AAA titles, but for the most popular games like Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 5, even a game like Flight Simulator, which is really high demanding, you will be fine. Actually, I've tested the RTX 3060 Ti last year on a Prebuilt PC, so if you want to see the performance on different titles from the RTX 3060 Ti, you will have that video in the top right of the screen. Now at 4K on that same 18 game average at high settings, we are talking about 64 FPS on average. So if you want a 60 plus FPS average experience at 4K, this graphics card is capable of handling that. Now I recommend you using DLSS when possible, that way you get the best performance at 4K resolution. But let's say you want to connect your PC to your TV and play games like NBA 2K, you're gonna have an amazing experience. So yes, this PC is maxed out at 1080p, but you can also play at 1440p and 4K depending on the game and the settings. Then for the case, we have the Montech X3 Mesh ATX case. This one has 6 pre-installed fans, a front mesh panel, great airflow overall for the price of $60. Honestly, it looks amazing as well. You get a whole system with RGB. Now, if you don't like RGB, that's totally fine. You can always turn it off, but it is a nice to have. And last but not least, the power supply, we have the Thermaltake Tough Power GX2, 600 watt 80 plus volt power supply. 600 watts is enough. This power supply is CT rated, which once again is enough for this type of build. The total price for this PC is $828 by the time that I'm recording this video. Maybe when you're watching this, it's even cheaper, so I recommend you checking the latest prices in the video description. And like I said, this is the limit I would spend for 1080p gaming. You can even play at 1440p with no issues, like I said before, but I wouldn't spend any extra money for 1080p gaming. If you're going to spend $1,000, then I recommend you having at least a 1440p monitor. And like I said before, you can consider the RX 6700 XT, especially if you want to play at 1440p down the line, or you want to start playing at 1440p now, because in terms of gaming performance it's going to be the same, but you will have the advantage of having more VRAM, which is going to become more important with newer AAA titles down the line. Now, like I said at the beginning, if you want to spend less money, I completely understand that, especially for 1080p. That's why I recommend you watching my video about the best PC builds of the month, where you will get the best PC guaranteed for your budget. And there you have a $550 gaming PC for 1080p and also a $750 1080p and 1440p gaming system. Because like I said, you actually don't even need to spend more than $800 for a 1080p system. If you have any questions about this PC build or maybe a Prebuilt PC, whatever question you may have, let me know in the comment section. I will try to reply as fast as possible. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.